very much. Today I'm hosting a brother of mine whom I'm very fond of, and I'm very, very fortunate, and I'm grateful that this day has finally come. It's been it's been a minute actually, it's been a minute. Chasing each other up and down, trying to get hold of each other. But of course, after university, life drifted us apart, and then people have been doing different things, a lot of things. Thank you so much for joining me, my brother Windo. I would like to introduce you as who you are now, but I understand that many people might know you at the different stages of your own life, so they know you differently. But as we are today in July 2026, may you introduce yourself, like who are you and what is it that you do?
Okay. Thank you, sir, for having me. I'm really grateful to be here with you, and as you said, that you come a long way. And I'm happy that we are finally having this conversation. I think we planned it many years back. I don't even remember when. But I'm happy that the day has finally come. As of now, there are people who might know me as a pastor. And most of the people that I'm really much present with them, week in, week out, they know me as a pastor. Some know me as a speaker. Well, I know there are very few know me that way formally. Yes, but I am a speaker, and also I'm an entrepreneur. So I like that name, not just a business person.
But an entrepreneur, someone involved in several kinds of businesses.
Yes, several different kinds of businesses. Also, not just someone who's self-employed, but we do quite a number of things. At the end stage, startup of course, but some people they know me as entrepreneur.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And I've got to experience several parts of that life, because I know you as a preacher from back in the days at university. So you being a pastor today, it does not really surprise me. I've seen your leadership skills coming up even during those days. And entrepreneurship, we've been in many businesses together, so that part I do know and I really do appreciate. But the part that I would like to discuss with you today, seeing your leadership roles and the fact that now you are fully engaged and full-time engaged in a spiritual path and being a pastor. That's the part I would like to explore, and also get as many people engaged, sharing your experience and what you think would be advantageous, especially for people who are non-believers. Especially to people who are unbelievers. On my own, I have my own theories saying that I wouldn't take my time to preach to people who are already believers. I feel like those ones would just go together and do the same thing. But I want these ones, the ones that are lost, So that's what I would like for us to explore today, and I really do appreciate you taking your time. So on that path specifically of being a religious person who understands the religious space and with experience, of course, of leadership, I have a couple of questions, of course, that I have prepared, and those are the ones that I would like for us to discuss. Starting with, according to you, I understand I'll keep on referring to being a spiritual person as religion, just to simplify it, but I understand that, of course, it's vast and much deeper. But for the sake of this conversation, I would like to refer to it as a religion. So, according to you and according to your understanding, what is the current role and the current role of the church or of the religion in people's lives, especially non-believers as well, but including the believers as well? But what is the role the church is currently playing in the lives of those people?
Thank you, sir. I think your question is really much good and relevant in our time. I think it's kind of question that everyone should be asking. It's us who are inside the church or religious space, and the people who are outside, they should be, because they have that right to ask it as well.
Absolutely.
So I would say, as you said, that religion it's a very broad name, even to the people who are from the same side as I am, Christianity, of course. Also, even when you talk about religion to them, you get different answers. So my answer might not be the same as someone whom I'm also along the same lines with.
Absolutely.
Yes. But my answer would be our role in our society, right, as people in the religious space, it's to shape the, 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 the moral uprightness.
Absolutely.
Yes. Number one. Well, we can say that we can have different opinions in terms of how. But one thing that at the end of it all, it should really bring a balance and stability in the society in terms of moral uprightness. It goes a long way, of course.
Absolutely.
But the end product of it, one of the end product that it needs to produce is that wherever there is a religious person individually or corporately, talking about the church or any organization that is religiously based, one of the things that should come out from that influence of that, it's either an individual organization, it's moral uprightness.
Absolutely.
So as I said, that we can have different opinions about that. But in terms of Christianity, when we talk about moral uprightness, we talk about the character of Jesus.
Yes.
Yes. That what should shape the intent. When you talk about moral uprightness, we talk about to that extent. Yes.
I completely do agree with you, and I really do appreciate the fact that you brought up the good morals. I do understand even the people who have no full understanding of what religion is or the depth of it, as long as they're grown in a church environment, they come up with those good morals, which means at the very least they won't be a problem to the society, they won't be a burden in a very bad way. So regardless of political or religious views, as long as you are a religious person, there is that touch of morality in there, which is very appreciable. And the society would definitely be a better place if that was implanted in each and every one of us. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that response. It's really better than what I would have anticipated. Keep looking at this template to get that car. So thank you so much. So in terms of still in a religious space in our Christian culture, according to your view, of course, what is the impact of the church in shaping the country's politics and, of course, religious spaces, academic spaces, and work? I understand that you've already touched the fact that as long as there's a believer in a workspace, in a corporate world, there is that touch of morality, there will be a very good behavior. But as well, of course, it should go a little bit more than that. And I understand that's just an expansion, as you've already touched on that particular response. But according to your view, what is it? What is our role as we are? For instance, the two of us here now. What is our role in those political spaces? In different churches, people have different religions, but still in the church, and also academic spaces, universities and schools, and now workplaces as a whole.
Okay. So first of all is one thing that I've mentioned, that our presence should advocate moral uprightness.
Absolutely.
So as I also said that it's very proactive in that topic. So what you're saying then in terms of our influence towards the spaces that we are present in, because the spaces that you are mentioning, it's the spaces where the religious people belong into. In fact, if you don't belong in those spaces, we should be also asking ourselves those questions. Why
Everything's still okay or not?
Yeah.
Why not there?
Why we don't have well, maybe if you may allow me, let's say Christians.
Yes.
For today, in terms of instead of religion.
Yes.
Because I don't want to find
Okay, yeah, Christian specific.
Yes. So if in those spaces we don't have Christians, it should be a question that we should ask ourselves as Christian agents. Why we don't have Christians there? Okay. And also, as I mentioned, that our influence should encourage moral uprightness. Also, we should also carry the burden if we don't see moral uprightness in those spaces. Because when you talk about our contribution, the basic foundation of it all, it's morality. It's morality. You know, when you talk about morality in terms of how we're going to influence that or how we expected to influence it. For example, as you mentioned, that it's me and you here.
Yeah.
When you bring the standards of or in terms of morality, no one can negotiate about it, because it's a standard that each and everyone has a litmus test of it,
Yes.
which is conscious. So when something is right, whether you agree with the person or not, but you can say it ngomlomo wakho, but you just know that this thing is right.
At the back of your mind, your conscience will agree with you and say this is right.
This is right. So also when we come into those spaces, Christians, we should not come with the burden that we want to show people that we are Christians. We're here to bring the balance in terms of morality. But your presence should be the one that communicates the standards. To say, in my presence, you can't do 1, 2, and 3. Not because I'm telling you to, but because you know that this is what I do, this is how I live, and you know that's the standard of life.
Absolutely.
Not also that you agree with it, but your conscience is telling you that this thing is right, and this is how you should do it. So now, in terms of us influencing those spaces, it should get to an extent, in fact, that how it's supposed to be, that your presence should raise the standard, not high, but to the actual standard in terms of morality of how it's supposed to be. Because when God created the universe, He created to function in a certain way, and for it to function in that way, the morality needs to be in a standard way. So now when I'm present in that space and I'm bringing the standard of God in terms of morality, I'm making the space conducive for everything to flow naturally.
Absolutely.
When you talk about the business world, that if I come as a business person and I come with the standards that I received from Christ of morality, I'm not actually coming as a person who's here to disturb the flow, but I'm here as a person who's here to neutralize the flow.
Yeah.
That my presence should make the business much more fun and easy. Because even Jesus said, when he was making a parable, that occupy until I come.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So our presence then should make occupation easy in every space. In politics, it should just make things easy. Even for a person who's just interested in politics, doesn't need to have skills of immorality for the person to thrive in that space.
Together,
But the person just needs to be in that space because believes that he's called for that space. But not like in current times. Some spaces you need to have some qualifications. Okay.
Abnormal qualifications.
I don't know if I do answer that.
I very much in favor. Actually, I love the phrase there, occupy until I come, which is very relevant. I don't think there will ever be a time where that is not relevant. It's very important, of course, that our presence be everywhere. And I like the fact that you also neutralized it on saying Christians are not anywhere to dominate, but we're there to neutralize the situation. I really do appreciate that, and it's going to be very, very much helpful. I think I have a bonus question after we're done with the actual questions, but I really do like, of course, the information and the politeness that you've introduced in there, because I know that you prove any point. We went to different places. I do remember when I went to school, when I was in high school, I believe we had, of course, brothers and sisters there. As much as we were all Christians, some people were extremists in a certain way. And not in a bad way, they were extremists in a certain way because they didn't want to impose their extremism into other people, but they presented that extremism into themselves. So that's what I appreciated them, and I kept myself together, glued to them. I remember someone someday said something about you can do whatever job that you want as a Christian, which is very good, but never go into acting because those people are pretending. We didn't correct him because he wasn't wrong. It's a character. You embrace the character, not yourself. But telling people not to go there, you're saying
kind of extreme.
Yeah, it's a little bit extreme. It's you saying it's fine. That's an evil space. Let the devil dominate there, and then we will be where we are.
Yeah, in fact, as much as you're saying that it used to happen way back, even now it still does.
It still happens. People limit themselves to certain spaces because they fail to have that neutralism to go and neutralize the environment. That's why I love that part. It speaks so vastly. I really do appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much. Moving to the next one. So what is the current and the future strategies to get people involved in spiritual matters? And maybe the reason why, like what is the plan that we do have as a church at the moment, according to your own view, or something that we can do, a plan, to make sure that even those extremists that still do not have that understanding, to say, this is what we're going to do in order to have them involved. So instead of going there and be like, you are wrong, and then start a fight that's never going to end. But what would be a perfect plan to go get these people involved? Because like I mentioned earlier on, I am more into the people who are non-believers so that they can come into the believing. But my plan is a little bit different. So we're going to because that's what it lacks again.
Yes.
Yeah, but what is the current plan of the church, especially us as young people, and what is it that you are doing, or what we as young people can do in order to draw more and more people towards us?
In fact, sometimes when I'm alone, I always just think about this, that if a person can just do what I believe can help alone, I'm sure maybe I could have tested some few ideas. But you can have ideas and also practically try to learn from others who are doing it and see that it works, but you can't do it alone.
True.
So even the idea, what I believe can help is it needs collective contribution.
Absolutely.
Firstly to people who are in religion, Christianity, but mostly to leaders, to the leaders. You know. For example, we've separated Christianity as a religion away from practical life so much to an extent that even when the person grows enough that the person can truly represent Christ, but whenever they get to these spaces we are talking about, they are not what they have become. The leaders, and by the help of the Lord, they've done amazing work sometimes in some spaces, but that influence doesn't get where it's supposed to get because we've separated life from religion. You know, in some churches and some organizations, it's not deliberately. You know, because of the past and everything, a lot of contributions towards that, but it's the reality. So I believe if we can start not to detach Christianity as a religion from life, a number of things can go right. Because I believe that when Christianity, the process, the change of salvation, it doesn't happen to the chairs, to the pulpit, and to the people who are just there. It happens to the individual. Absolutely. It happens, the changes takes place to the person.
To
an individual. That same person is still gonna go on from church to the political space. So now, if that person, the change that has happened to that person, when the person can get outside there, becomes the person that he or she has become. I believe that there are people that we shouldn't preach to them. Because in fact, when we are planning of campaigns, the areas we should say, no, we are not going there, we have not enough Christians. You know, yeah. If the Christians are not coming back with those people, it means we haven't done so much in the church. Because you know the idea of the church is the Lord Jesus, when he then appointed certain people in terms of gifts to equip the saints, which is believers, the born again Christians, so that they will go and do the work of ministry. And that work of ministry is outside there. And you know, for someone who's not born again, would be like, so you're taking people to church so that they come and torment us? Because some people, when you are evangelizing, you feel like, hey, we are harassing us.
You're busy, telling us about our sins and what we're doing wrong.
But that's not how it's supposed to feel like. Because when you talk about evangelism, it's about displaying the life of Christ, what He has done to me. You know, I can communicate it by word, but I can show you by life. That what you see to me is a work of the blood.
Yeah.
And if you like what you see, come and listen.
And join us, yes.
And Christianity is simple like that. It's just a life transformed by Jesus. So now, when we talk about how we can, what was the question again?
Yes, just like what the current plan is and.
Yes. It should be simple to say, you receive Christ, come and be part of us, and then go to where the spaces you are and be what you have become. It's simple.
That's very simple, straightforward.
In fact, that's how it's supposed to be. You are becoming, and you go and live the life that you have become. So now, no one in their right mind cannot come to receive something that has changed a friend, a mother, a father, a sister, a cousin, positive.
Absolutely.
No one.
Yeah.
Because everyone wants to be okay. People don't want to have stress. They want to live a free life. They want to have prosperity but with balance. All those things. And those are the things that are found in Christ. But now, we whom have received Christ, we keep him to church. But, if you can then practicalize that, it means most of Christians that have truly transformed, they are faking life. But we won't say it's bad.
Yeah.
You have transformed.
Because some people tend to misinterpret things on purpose.
Okay, even myself, I'm not saying that when it is faking, because you have become something, but when you go out, you are not living that.
That thing,
So
it's a persona that only exists when you are.
But now, the reason why we say it's not bad, because you have become something good, but you are just shy and ashamed of showing it to others.
To make it 100% of your life everywhere.
To say, hey, I've become gold, and see this gold.
Yo, that's very, 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 very true. And in addition to that, like when you talk about the impact that we do cause without having to tell people what they're doing wrong, which is some sort of an evangelism people believe. But the good evangelism that you just spoke about, where we go out and then tell people how our lives have been transformed. So people look at us and be like, I want to be like that. So we won't have to convince anyone, we just have to tell our stories, which is testifying to the people. And that way those people will want to be. Every day, every Monday to Friday when I go to work, that this group of brothers, I don't know them, but I'm already used to their faces because I see them every Monday to Friday. They stand there by the marketplace. Yeah, they stand there by the marketplace, they have a speaker, and then, so while other people are selling their stuff, these people are testifying. They're not preaching, they're testifying. This one brother this other day, and like I looked at them and was reminded of how good it is to be a Christian once again, and not the kind of a Christian who's shy in certain places, but they're just there telling everyone or anyone who's willing to listen who they were and who they are now. That's all they do. I've never heard them quoting Bible verses that tend to make people guilty people into joining them. They only tell their stories. And I've seen people coming closer to them. At some point, it's just that, in the morning I'm going to work. So, and also because of fears of something that you a little bit touched on, like that lack of understanding of when you tend to join them, and then maybe the story might change is to say, yeah, okay, we wanted to get, now here's what we do. Like, just say, thank you so much for what you're doing. But when you talk about not being shy, not just putting a persona, but testifying of what the Lord has done for you and using that to allow people to also see, or at the very least wish to witness or experience that, I get that picture, and it's really amazing. And also you talk about not having to convince people and say, now I've changed, look at me now, like I've changed, but people will have to see that in you and then come to you and be like, hi man.
I like what you've become.
Yes, I love what you've become. I love what you've become. So many times, so different times. I think I've noticed that there's a security guard at work. I don't talk. I don't have many friends. I talk to, like, you can count the number of people I talk to, and I don't think there are more than 5. And most of those people is because either I report to or we work together, so we have to discuss from time to time. Yes, and I work with hundreds of people every single day. I see hundreds of different faces. So for some reason, this security guard, Jerome Grelopani, started calling me foodies. I've never spoken to the guy, and it guilted me into reminding me, hey, my daughter. Is it the Peter? You remember when Peter was told to mbukeni ngendlela hamba ngayo hamba na Jesus ngiyangisuke
because I feel like it seems like you're running away from something.
Not even a feeling. I did run away because I didn't respond. And whenever he sees me, and it's usually when I'm like was 16 and 17, and he says, for this, and then I just greet and move. We never sat down and discussed that. But at the very same time, it's something that I very, very much appreciate, because whatever you heard and whatever you saw, I thank God for it, and I would like to do it more. But the fact that I ran away at that point in time and didn't ask me, why? Why are you calling me there so that I can do it more, even better, if it's something? But that kind of a thing. So when you talk about that kind of behavior, as much as but that kind of behavior, when you talk about it, it's very much appreciable. And thank you for bringing that up. I think I have a testimony to give on Monday.
To clarify something.
Very clarified, very much, and make sure that I dwell a little bit more. And I'm pretty sure this is not just my story. You are touching many stories.
Of course, some people, they will, even the people who don't have a background in terms of religion, when they see something on you, then they know that it's a trait of Christianity. They say, I'm from this, But it's mostly it's a sign, it's a good sign. It's to say that we see something.
Yes.
It's not that it doesn't really mean that it's
exactly. True.
Yeah, but it's a sign that there's something we see in you, and we see the trait of Christ or Christianity.
Yes. Which is
there's something
exactly
positive.
Yes, which is something we should always write on and make sure to hold it and use it to grow. Or at the very least, right and no, thank you so much for that. Thank you so much. Thank you for that. And the other question is not the last question. Based on that, based on what we're doing now, what we should do and what we're not doing, especially considering everything like people developing different personas. Just when they're in church, like this kind of a person, when they're outside, like this kind of a person, and also people who are over. We talk about you spoke about leaders who have done more than enough. We've done more than enough, even though sometimes their hard work does not reach where it should be, but they're doing everything they can. Some of those people are working overtime just to make sure that the message gets where it should get in the way that it should be. So considering those two different parties, and also of course people who end up now in politics and then tend to delete the Christian persona, all those kind of things, universities being flooded with this and that, and also having Christian organizations, of course, in universities and high schools. Based on all that general information there, good and bad, where do you see religion, or at the very least Christianity, going from where we are now to the next generation?
To be honest with you, okay, I would say it as it is. I believe that we are at a point where some changes need to take place, drastic changes. Reason being, the state of where life is at the point where life is changing, moving faster through technology. So as technology comes in, accessibility to things that can distract people the rate is very high. It's going very high. That even the Christians themselves, they tend to be distracted by the rate at which life is moving.
True.
So I believe that we are at a point where very drastic changes need to take place in terms of on the side of Christian side. I don't want to say leaders, but because it's our responsibility, everyone who's a Christian, you have a role to play in channeling and contributing to the move of Christianity. As you're asking, where do we see it going?
Absolutely.
So I think it will determine whether we are taking those drastic changes or we let it flow as it flows. Because by the look of things, there are two sides. There is a chance that we might go to become a cool religion.
Okay.
Nice.
Not as straight here. Just
there is very much influential because now it's a status to be a Christian.
That is true.
When you're a Christian, and also it's also going to on the very same side. The other part that I see happening, that Christians might find themselves in a space where churches become rich and Christianity become that kind of religion that if you are not doing well in life, just follow them. They have good words, encouraging words, great ideas. When you're around those people, you will prosper. But the disadvantage of that you won't have influence that you're supposed
To have, that is true. That is
because
true.
we'll just be creating a community of people who are just good people. But Christian is not about being good.
Good, yeah, not just So people who just want to find a place where they will seem like they belong, but they won't have any growing seed within them. That says
in fact, it's you know. Okay, let me say it. I came across a video. I won't mention much details, but someone was going to different churches and doing content.
Okay.
And what really concerned me was the criteria of the person because she was looking for a church. The criteria that wanted to use to choose a church. And the fact that the person was getting churches that are fitting to the criteria was very alarming to me. To say, okay, now we're having churches that are good, but in that pace that those churches are, I hardly believe that there is growth and change of people. Remember, we said the people who are going to those churches, they need to they need to at some point be impacted, then they can bring impact to the society. Yeah. And the rate that the person in those communities that the person was showing. I don't want to say much, my opinion, but by the look of things, I doubt that we are having that. Because there are many of the communities that are like that, and there are a number of people, but those people, they seem to have less influence to the society. So when you say where we are going, I see that side, and it's not really a good side to think it about. Because it happened before where the leaders of nations, Roman Empire, they became Christians, and they brought things from other gods to the church.
Just to join, that's a very...
And the church was a national religion. It was a national religion.
Just allowed
to be a Christian, in fact. You were on the right side even of the law. Like you
as long as you present as a Christian.
If you're a Christian, but now a lot of things were introduced in that state. So I see us going to that extent. But now if those drastic changes take place, I see us going to, because the influence of the church, Christianity, will grow in any way. So if you can take advantage of this time now and bring in the drastic changes that needs to be brought in our communities, Christian communities, to say, it's fine, the influence of Christianity is growing, but we are drawing certain lines. To say as much as the influence is growing, but when you pass this mark, you can't just pass this mark and be the same. Yes, you can be inside the church because it's like a clinic, hospital. We are here to be changed and everything, but there are certain lines where you cannot pass, and we can't allow you to be the same and be on this side.
Absolutely.
So same thing as a hospital. You can't just come to a hospital and you just diagnose yourself, and you also tell us your own timeline. Say no, in 2 months I'll be fine. I don't need someone who will check me. In 2 months I'm fine, whether you like it or not.
People don't want to be told anymore.
And also when it's 2 months, I want a good bit.
Because I feel like
I'm used to everything. I can give me a pulpit, or I can be a worship, whatever that I believe I'm fit to do. But now, if then the Christian community say, yes, you are welcome to come, because that's the role of the church, to welcome, not only to welcome, to even visit people in their spaces, to say, come and join us, and also we need to get to a point where even as Christians, we have discipleship programs in those spaces, politics, business, and strategies to do it, not maliciously, but for the influence and to grow the impact. But now, if we don't draw those lines, we'll find ourselves on the other. So I would say, for us to go in the right direction, drastic change
needs to be taken. And I really do appreciate the introduction of those kind of criteria to make sure that people do understand that when they're getting or when becoming Christians, You're not just joining a movement that is supposed to protect you and make you look good in public or give you just that good status. But there's a responsibility as well that comes with it. To say, now you're a Christian, you can no longer behave in a certain way. Like, there are just things that should not even be told to you. The fact that you chose this path, this should be evident in everything that you do. It should just be present.
In fact, salvation is change.
Yeah.
You start from this point. At the end, you need to, because the progression of salvation, it says, will end in glorification. And in glorification, it's another stage, which is you can't just wake up and even when Jesus comes, like, there is a progression. Like, it's a process.
It's a process.
So the moment it ends to be a process, like, what's the purpose of it? It's no longer salvation. So now we want to have Christianity that is outside of salvation, the progression of change, like of a person becoming like Jesus.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's not Christian, because the name Christian came when they started to resemble Christ.
Right.
So
those people were referred to as.
Yes. So when we talk about Christians, we talk about people who have changed or who are changing to
becoming Christ, that Christ-like behavior.
Yes.
So unless that behavior is there, that person cannot be referred to as Christian.
We can't say it is. Hence I said, even in our space of religion, Christianity, some people might have a different opinion.
Yes.
But I believe that's the
It's the simplified way.
Yeah.
That's exactly what that is. Actually, it's just that, like some people, like you said before, like you mentioned the fact that it will never work in a way, or what would be destructive in our Christian environment would be when people want to command themselves. They don't want to be told anything. They want to diagnose themselves and tell them how long they will need, and then it's just now be driven by feelings, because people tend to confuse the two. They even bring their own personal emotions into religion that does not require anyone's emotion. You have to be Christ-like. I'm reminded of a very unfortunate story. I think it came out yesterday on the news of this pastor who stabbed, I think. So I think when you talk about something you mentioned earlier on about people who see or tend to see a religious space as a safe space for you to start some sort of a business, like people who really think if you want to be well off in life, just go there. I think that's the kind of behavior that we would see. Someone who is so not Christ-like or so not religiously inclined, yes, to think it is in any way a way to resolve a conflict, stabbing someone. Where, how, and why? Like that kind of a thing. So now an insulting question, mind you, to get into provocative ones. They're serious ones now are gone. But this one is extremely serious as well. It's just that not as proactive as the ones that we've established. I'll add this one into the bonus feature to say sit and then watch. We are young people. We are young people and we are driven by a lot of things. We still have plans as individuals. Sabantu abasha safuna ukushada ngelinye ilanga safuna ukuba nengane nje nini mina nje ngifuna nje at least 30 kube ngane. So
you want to be like your grandfather?
I want to be like my grandfathers. And it's 30 or nothing. It cannot be in between. But on a serious note though, looking at our brothers and sisters, we live in different spaces. Of course, it depends on where people are, they see things differently. I not so long ago I was talking to my sister Osemakai, when I was telling them about the story, about someone whom I saw, and just to testify with him, because they were talking about no, you don't want that. Why? And then I told the stories. I'm like, no man, I'm looking at someone who is doing this and that. How brother? I'm not doing that. I'm looking at someone who's doing that, not me. So I don't think you would survive, based on how I know you at this point in time, you wouldn't survive. But what would be an ideal environment? Or do you think it's an actual reality where we have an environment that's not hospitable for Christians, especially young people, at this point in time?
What a good question. For me, I believe that if Christianity is done the right way, yes, it can survive anywhere. The history proved it to us that the people of old they could bring Christianity to any space. When you look into the Bible, those areas were not the same. Different kinds of areas.
True.
You know, with a lot of different things. To take for an example, the Corinth.
Yes.
The space in Corinth was something, yeah. You know, when you read about the book of Corinth, the things that were happening there,
Yes.
I'm like, I wonder how Paul was feeling when he heard the things that were happening in the church. But now, the fact that the church was still there, and he could write to them and correct them, and they will continue with Christianity, it means that Christianity can survive
anyway.
As terrible as you can find things in those different spaces, but it doesn't change the fact that Christianity can survive. You know why? It's because when Jesus says in John 10 verse 10, and the thief came not to steal, kill, and destroy, but I came that you may have life and have it in abundance.
Yes.
You know, so that abundant life, it can survive
anyway,
because it is against the thief that kills, steal, and destroy. So that thief can be in any environment, but when Jesus comes, he brings life and have it in abundance. So you can be in the space where the thief is killing, stealing, and destroying, but on your side, you're having life that is in abundance. So when you talk about life in abundance, you're not talking about life is not only resources, but you talk about the life that is within you. That when there is a going down, the casting down, and when you are saying the opposite. Not because of the influence around you, not because of the economy around you, but because of the life that you have within. So I believe that when it's done right, it can survive anyway.
When you talk about that, I'm reminded of the widow who I think whom Elijah visited when he was she didn't have to preach to in order to believe and understand that you have to do the right thing or a good thing when she only had the last food and then she decided to offer him simply because he said, it's just that this is the last food that I have, that I'm just going to eat, and then me and my grandchild and die after I wanted anything more. But out of the goodness of her heart, she was more than willing to share whatever little or whatever the nothing she had left with her. So I think that's the goodness. If something lives in you, you sometimes no longer look at what's on the other side of it. It's who you are. It's not something you have. It's not about how much you have left and whatnot. It's just the kind of a person that you are. So I think I completely do agree with you there. I completely do agree with you to say, if that personality can grow and develop in all of us, the world will be a much, much better place.
So, for example, that the story of the prophets and the widow, and because the prophet was there having life within him, he was able to change the situation. He was supposed to end everything, but it's tend to be the opposite, because there came someone who was having life. So it can be in rural areas. It can be in the busiest cities. But if you have life within you, you can share I can come and stay with you, and we have a small fellowship in our home. Because we do it right, while everyone is dying from different kind of influences around us, but we'll survive in a terrible space because we have life within us. So I don't. In fact, it happened that some people would believe that it's better in cities, and some would say it's better in rural areas. I think it's maybe for the people who are leaders in organization, depends where the Lord has called you to.
Yes, because you will always see that space in what you want it to become, not what it is at that point in time.
Same also as a believer generally. Also, when the Lord wants you and called you to be in the city, you can't expect that you'll do well in the rural areas. When the timing of God for your life in that season, it says you must be in the city and you want to be in the rural. Some people can survive, but you can't survive because all the provision, the resources, the stability that God has provided for you is not there
at that point in time.
Yes. So it's something that we cannot look in as an example from someone who's surviving, who's driving, and who's not. But what's the will of God for your life.
Absolutely. I really do appreciate that. Those are very kind and powerful words. Now, we live in an ever-changing world. We live in an ever-changing world. There is one question that I would like to ask, which is not a question, of course, just your own thoughts into everything, according to you. That is just a message. As we run into the conclusion, I want you to maybe just in the meantime think about it. Like, if there is one message, maybe one phrase or one message that you would like to preach to the whole world, or one thing that you would like the whole world to know, what would it be if you think this is going to benefit them or take them to the long run? Especially njengabantu abasha. I no longer have much faith in ebantwini abadala. Not that we don't love them, but we understand that these people are here for a very short period of time. But young people are going to be here for a very, very long time. So they still have a little bit more time than the older generation. We appreciate, of course, the contributions of the older generation from the days of apartheid to sticking to religion and later available side from Djibouti. Now we are called and so on. Beautiful thing, but our young people are a little bit different from that. So some people will tend to try and explain spirituality instead of living in that spiritual life. They tend to like I listen to a lot of people, and sometimes I tend to listen or go to religious spaces just to listen and watch what other people are talking. I don't think this is what God wanted for us. Some people will be looking at other people and pointing fingers, be like, wrong, and not realizing by saying that you're not correcting anyone. If you want to correct someone, you have to also want to. That's what the Bible says. It's about wrong. I really don't know. But if there is one thing that you would like for people to know, especially young people, the whole world wide, like what would it be? So that would be in the Yokvana, you will think about it. I have one more question before that one, before you answer that last one. So we spoke about presence of religion in our individual places, workplaces, our impact, thoughts, future prospects that we do have for young people. Yes. And is there any distinction as to who can preach? Like, is there any? It's okay. Most people say they have a calling when they go into religion, but who actually has a calling?
Okay. Number one, I would say everyone has a calling.
Yeah.
It's just that it's not the same.
The same.
We are not called to do one thing.
The same thing. Yes.
We are not called to emphasize on one thing. Because we can be also called to do or be the same thing, but we are not necessarily the same.
The same, absolutely.
I can be called to be a pastor, and you are called to be the pastor, but doesn't mean that our calling is the same.
The same.
Different emphasis, called to different spaces, and on top of it, we are different people. We are gifted differently. We are wired differently. A lot of things are different.
Yeah.
So callings are different, and they will never be the same. No one is the same that is similar to me.
Exactly what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
It's a mere difference of they're still doing exactly the same thing, just different ways.
Yeah. You can even be using the same machine, but you are in different ways.
Different ways. But the purpose is
even to tell you that you can also be using the same in number. But I'm not thinking the same way you think. So we won't do it the same. Our pace won't be the same.
It won't be the same. Yeah.
Because we are different people.
So everyone has a calling. I really like that response. Everyone has a calling. Sometimes it's not for the same thing. Sometimes it is for the same thing, just in different ways. And also, of course, our characters and personalities do come into play. Amazing. Yes, so in conclusion, that last question, if you could say one thing to our generation that goes to come, what would it be?
So one thing that I can say is, if you study with just book, the book of Acts, chapter 17, verse 26. It says, and he made from one man every nation. Okay, just one. I'll paraphrase.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine. I'll just paraphrase.
Oh, yeah.
Luke 17, verse 26. There Paul was explaining to the people in Athens and the people in Greece. They were very learned people. And then he was telling them about the God whom they had an altar, but they didn't give a name.
Okay.
So he said, I came to preach to you this gospel, this God that you don't know.
So you have so many others, you know all of them, except this one.
So he's explaining to them, who is this God? So he said he made all nations from one man. He then intentionally made us to live in different spaces. Intentionally. He made borders and everything that will separate us. And then by that, when you then try to understand it, it means he then made life to be hidden in a certain way. Intentionally also. And with the hope that people, they will seek God and maybe they can find him. And then when he continues, says, because in him we live, in him we move, in him we find our people. So the reality there in that verse, it says, the meaning of life, the reality of life is found in God. It doesn't matter where you are in this world. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter of your race. It doesn't matter of your age. It doesn't matter also maybe you found something on your life. You found God. There's something you don't have. That was meant to be you and that was meant to be for you. So each and everyone who's alive, it's very important that in your lifetime you find God, and I'm telling you, find something that you can find him. Because he is in you.
Thank you so much. Each and every one of us. You speak like God. And I want to thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Those are beautiful people. I really appreciate you for your time. I really appreciate you taking this time to come here with us. And for those who don't know, we don't pay anyone who comes here. Just we receive and then have this positive contribution. I really do hope that you will be our resident pastor, the one who is always there whenever there's something that requires. I remember there's the video of why are you gay?
Oh, that's
you know this thing, try to call and say, come here. Get someone who needs like come here. And then out of nowhere he just came and they were like, yes, get him.
I think those things are important even for business.
Yes.
I believe in people who are in business. In every space you need to have someone who's of that caliber for the contribution.
True.
Because there's nothing that God cannot have a voice into. And I believe that the voice of God should bring standard and balance into it. When there is confusion, people out there, they need to know that there are people who can say something.
Absolutely.
And any when Job, in the book of Job says, he was the youngest among Job's friends.
Yes.
He said, there is a spirit in me, and the inspiration of Almighty given them. He said, I sat here, I thought these old men would say something. I'm not saying that it's bad that old people cannot have a solution.
Yes.
Well, I love them so much. And in fact, right now we come from a conference with men, fathers and sons. Something wrong. But sometimes it's not really about age.
Yes.
But it's about the inspiration that is from Almighty. So we need to have the contribution, the voice from the Lord. What does God say? What is the input of God in everything that you are doing in all these spaces? So after we've tried to bring solutions, just try God.
Just try God. You will never go wrong there. You will never go wrong. As long as you're willing to listen and obey whatever He's saying to you, you will never go wrong there. And I know we concluded, but when you talk about listening to what God is saying at that particular point in time, my spiritual father keeps on constantly tells this wonderful story of we started. When we started, the church is quite big now, but when we started, the room cooked, just a very, very long shack that was consecrated. Actually, when we started, it wasn't even a long shack. We had to go one room at some point in time. So he makes an example of that church. There is a time in a church where there was this one old man, like a very, very old man who always sit just by the entrance of the church. He was always there. Day in every single Sunday when they come to worship, the man will be there. He does nothing. He says nothing. He's just there. Day in and day out. So talking about old people or their contribution or listening to what God is saying at that particular point in time. So they were facing a certain kind of challenge, a change, like not understanding where to go from here. And then they prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed. God kept on saying, don't ask the pastor, don't ask his junior pastors, don't ask the committee for a resolution that you're looking for. Saying to the pastor, don't ask anyone, but ask the oldest amongst you. So he went to his elders, the elders of the church, of the executive committee, and said, and then it's okay. It's fine, nothing. He looked around, he went home, spoke to his father. Hey, yet to this problem that we have in the church at this point in time, I was told to speak to the oldest amongst us. Maybe you as my father will be able to guide me on how to talk. He said, I don't even go to church, so I don't think that person is me. Go to church, sit there, don't ask questions, sit there and you look around. You will probably find that person. Just out of nowhere, this other Sunday, sat there, when looking, and you saw that problem, you realize in time, this person has always been here, but I don't think they know why they're here. You know, like they're always there. And then they called him and said, before he could finish his question, the man provided him a resolution that what you need into this change, to do this change, is a 3 days fasting. And when you pray, you don't ask for anything, but you thank God that He has already resolved the problem that you've been having. Very, very simple. It came through an old man. But at the very same time, as time went on, same church, same organization. He told them, invest more in young people. Because these people still have a very long way to go. They will make mistakes along the way. Don't give up on them. They will make mistakes. But invest more in these young people. Even if a pastor comes into your church and says, I've been with you for the longest time. I've known you as a brother. I've known you as I know you, man, and you know that I can preach. Give her the pulpit. Do not do that. Invest in the young people. Someone you will see from zero until they get to a point where I feel like they are ready now to take over and then start working. And that's exactly what I've been doing all along. So when you talk about, first and foremost, saying everyone has a calling, but just different kind of callings. I understand that. When you say young people, old people, there is a time for each one of them, and there is a purpose for each one of them. It's not always relying on older, it's not always relying on the young, but it depends on what God is doing at that particular point in time. I really do appreciate that. My brother, thank you so much for the Sukumete. If anyone wants to maybe even draw more from this information that we have shared, and even draw more from your knowledge and wisdom that God has imparted.
Ibanda, we are here in Durban, we're based in Durban, Sango House, and a number of people they know Sango House.
Sango House. I think it's written on top of the building, you can't get lost.
So it's on Anton Lebede, number 417 Anton Lebede. It's just written Sango House.
Sango House, it's a win,
CBD, our shop right. Yes. Smith Street. So we are on the floor 14th. So the lift will drop you at the 13th floor, and then you take the steps to the 14th floor. And the room number is 1400.
4100. I'm pretty sure we'll have this written on the screen as we speak. And kukhona mhlambe indlela abangaxhumana ngayo nawe mhlambe on social media or mobile number, WhatsApp groups, just for people to be there, be part of the growing organization.
So I forgot to say the time on Sundays is from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m.
Very convenient, which means we have work saying when the moment we have put in the that's amazing. 2 to 4.
Yes.
Perfect.
So on social media we have social media pages on Facebook, Instagram, Terra Apostolic Missions, that's the name of the church.
Terra Apostolic
Missions. But you can also follow me on my socials where that's where we are very much active. You can just search Nibubufu Kumete and I think that's the easiest. You will see this face.
They will see, yeah, they will see the face. They will see the face.
Yes. So it's on TikTok, on Facebook, on Instagram, and that's where most of the details you find.
Both Lindo Document and Apostolic Missions.
Yes,
absolutely.
Fine.
Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it, man. That's all. Thank you so much for joining us in the podium. This is a space where you speak and we listen. We appreciate you. We'll see you next time. Until then, God bless you. Good night and take care. Peace out.